Welcome, everybody. Today is September 29th. It is a Tuesday, and please don't forget that there are no Google Meets today for math. Everything will be done asynchronously, which is done independently, so please have a notebook out to take notes throughout this lesson today. As well, you could also make a copy of these slides and then take your notes from there, whatever you prefer. All right, so you can see today's agenda is taking notes in a moment. We'll be doing a warm-up, and then there's a Tyler's walk, a Seagulls eat, and then a cool down at the end. With this is only video 1. Video 2 will provide you with breakdown answers. So you could check your work after in video 2 to make sure that you did the work correctly. So our focus of today is going to be that I can recognize and represent proportional relationships between quantities, and I can explain what a point X and Y on the graph of a proportional relationship means in terms of the situation. So as we begin our notes here, and remember, you can pause at any time. You don't have to play this right away. You can pause, rewind, hear my voice over and over, whatever it may take to take these notes down. But we're going to start off with the word origin. And origin is a place on a graph where the X and Y cross. All right, so you can see here, this is where it's 0, 0. This point is also known as 0, 0. And I'll have to make a quick edit here. So when I see this is my origin. All right, so keep that in mind. Now, when I look at my graph, I want to make sure I know what everything means. So this line that goes vertically is considered our y-axis. This is usually called our dependent variable. This is our x-axis, which is our independent variable. So the x-axis is always going to be horizontal, and our y-axis is going to always be vertical. Sometimes on graphs, you may see a little y at the top above this arrow and a little x over here as well. That's just confirming that that's your y and that's your x. They never switch. And then always give your graph a title. So in this case, we're talking about the cost of a cab ride. Okay, so just make sure that you always include a title, and you can make that title whatever it is that associates to what you're working on. The last thing, when you put a point on a graph, we just want you to know that's called a coordinate point. It's always written as XY. My X number should always come first before my Y number. It's never the opposite way around. I know on a table, we used to go Y divided by X, but on a graph, it's X comma Y. So just make sure you keep that in mind. So in this case, my point is 20 miles and $60. So for 20 miles, it's going to cost $60. So that's why my coordinate pair is 20 and 60. Now, we talked about this last week, but as a refresher, what makes a graph proportional? Well, there's two things. The first thing is that the line should start at 0, 0. So you can see here the origin. It started at 0, 0 for both of them. And that when you extended this line, it was straight. And when you extended this line, it was straight. So as long as it starts at 0, 0, which is the origin, and it is straight, that line on your graph is proportional. So let's start off with this warm-up here. So use your notes to begin this warm-up. Invent a situation that can be represented by this graph. All right, so remember, they said miles was down here and money. You could choose whatever you want. You could choose miles and distance, or time and distance, let's say. Time and distance. Whatever you can come up with, choose a situation that works for you. After that, let's label these axes with quantities. So if I chose time for my X, because time is independent, time's going to keep going. What's dependent is the distance. So distance would be my Y, because how far I travel depends on my time. And then let's give this a graph, such as distance traveled per time. The last piece I want you to do here is there's a point on this coordinate plane. So what does that represent to you? If this was your time and this was your distance, what would this coordinate point represent to you?